The art of hosting and attracting unique guests. Now, the way that I teach most times is I love definitions. And then, so I'm going to give you the definitions of all the words in this topic and then bring it together and then share my thoughts with you. Now, when you talk about definition of terms, we're looking at art as a word. We're looking at host, who is a host or what is hosting. We're looking at attracting. So, what is attract? What does it mean to attract? And then, what does it mean to be unique? And I would now talk about all of those words and then I'll bring it together for you. First of all, we'll start with the word art. What is art? Because we're talking about the art of hosting and attracting unique guests. Very fantastic keywords in this topic, right? The art of hosting, attracting, unique. All right. So let's start with the word art. What is art? By the definition, Google Dictionary, it says that art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Typically, is a visual form such as, painting or sculpture or producing work to be appreciated primarily for their beauty and emotional power. Look at all those keywords in the definition of art. So it's saying that, see, when you talk about art, you're talking about your creativity as a person. So when they say this, oh, this is a work of art, it means that work has been created by a creative person, first of all. And after being created, what effect that art has on the people who are looking at it is that they appreciate it. They appreciate it. They see the beauty and it generates an emotion on their inside. It could be, oh, oh, wow, oh, eh, wow, right? It generates or it evokes some sort of emotion in the beholder of this thing called art. Art is related to beauty. And that's why they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So all of us can be looking at the same thing, but our expression, our reaction will be different because we are looking at it from our perspective. But one thing is sure that when it is a work of art, it is definitely going to evoke an emotion in people. All right. So, what then is um, another definition of art is the various branches of um, creative activities, right? The various branches of creative activities, such as painting, music, literature, dance, speaking, presentation. So it's the different parts of creative activities. All right. So again, actually, in that sense, I would say podcasting is actually an art, right? Because it's an expression of your creativity. And then when it comes down to bringing it back to art, it is you expressing how creative you are. Okay, I'm going to tie it up to you or tie it all together for you at the end. But just remember, there is an art. And so art actually evokes emotion in other people. It showcases beauty. It showcases creativity. And if you remember that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, it means that the art is also in the creativity of the creator. So you are the creator of your art. And if it's creativity, it is not defined. It is not defined. The other day was just 2 days ago, or if it could actually have been yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago. I saw a video online of water concerts. It was called Water Concert. And what was I looking at? There was a lady who is like the performer of the orchestra. There was an orchestra playing to water. These people are creativity is mad. Like you would like, how did they think about this? You cannot define creativity, right? So basically, there were two bowls of water in front of her, and she was drumming on the water. The water was
Wow.
mic'd. So she was drumming and she had like a container to create the sound on the other side. So like pa, 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 boom, boom, pa, pa, pa. And then the next thing she had like a tube like glass. like a tube
Mm-hmm.
like glass. Then as she was dipping it in the water, she was hitting the top
Lashing
of
it.
the tube. And the thing was creating a sound. And then the
Unique.
orchestra was playing to that sound. And
Wow.
the more she dipped it, the different sound it was creating. When she brings it up, the different sound it was creating, but mixed with water. You know how you enter inside, jump inside water, you hear that boom. It's like
Really?
that sound.
Exactly.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then the next thing they were playing, she brought out from the same bowl, she had a sieve. And then she just brought the sieve up, and there was a sound of
Different
like rain,
sounds.
abundance of rain.
Mm.
I'm like, what?
Wow.
Who thought about this?
I'm telling you,
Now,
water.
there's no definition. There is no definition. So maybe the first person who did that now has already created an art. You'll be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that was creative. What about the guy with the body movement, kinesthetics?
Yeah.
He's a conductor that conducts people, like disabled
His
people,
body.
basically. And then they use their hands to create different type of visual and sound effects. Amazing.
Mm.
So you cannot like define creativity. It is when it comes out as art, people then appreciate it. So that's definition of art. Keep that on one leg. All right. The next word I'd like to define is host, right? Because you are the host. So hosting is the act of host. Hosting is the act of doing
Of
what a host
course.
does. So what
Yeah.
or who is a host? A host is a person
Host.
who receives or entertains guests socially, commercially, or officially. So you
Mm.
receive, you entertain your guest, whether that's a formal event, a social event, or an official event, or a commercial event, you are selling market. You're sure the host. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
you're somewhere
Yeah.
and people are there and you're guiding them. All right. So that means that when it comes to podcasting as well, it's the same thing. And so there are different styles of hosting, right? Whether you're hosting solo, only you, or you're doing co-host, or you're doing
Mm-hmm.
panel session, you know, whatever style you decide to choose for your podcast, there is a host, which means you're driving the conversation. So whether you're doing it alone, you're driving the conversation to the people you're talking to, or you're doing with somebody, or you're doing the interview style, meaning you're asking questions of the person who is your
Questions.
guest. So in this sense, now we're talking about the guest part, which is you interviewing people, bringing people from all
Yeah.
walks of life, depending on the topic that you've chosen, the niche that you've chosen for your podcast. All right. So that's the definition of hosting. So basically, we're not talking about the art of receiving, entertaining your guests. All right. So that means,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, your guest needs to feel received by you.
Mm-hmm.
Because in this case, ideally, podcast is an audio content. So it means people are
Yeah.
listening. They might not see who is talking, but they are listening, right? So they need to feel welcomed. So they can't even see your audience now to see if they are smiling or they are cheering them or
Yeah.
not. So you are the one
Yeah.
they are relating with. So you are the one to make them feel very special. They are your
Mm-hmm.
guests anywhere in the world, your guests always like you always want to, make your guests feel at home, welcome them so that they want to come again and again, or at least speak well about you wherever they go. They want to make it
Yeah.
memorable for them. In the same way, when people are coming to your podcast, you need to be able to welcome them, to make them feel special, to make them feel heard, to make them feel like, okay, they are adding value to the world. All right. So remember, that's you hosting. Now, the third word I want to define is attract. What does attract means? Attract means to cause to come to a place or
Mm-hmm.
participate in a venture by offering something of interest or advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that again.
Yeah.
To attract means to cause to come to a place, to engineer to come to a place, to catalyze to come to a place, to make to come to a
Yeah.
place of participating in a
Yeah.
venture. And why should they come and participate in this venture? Because There is something of interest or there is something of advantage to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it means as a podcaster, when you're thinking about hosting people, when you're thinking about hosting and actually the art of attracting them, it means that you yourself, as a person and as a podcast, you need to have something of interest. You need to have something
Yeah.
of advantage. So when you're doing this most times, it's better to be on the giving side than on the receiving
Mm-hmm.
side.
7. Yeah.
Because when you position yourself properly to be on the giving side rather on the receiving side, you become attractive. But
Mm.
when you are on the receiving side, you become a beggar. That's why you need
Yeah.
to beg. Please now, I have this podcast. Please, I'm looking for guests. Please now, come
Yes.
and be on my
Yeah.
podcast. Like, okay, you know what? I will think about it. They will look at it.
Mm.
I'll think about it. Okay, I'll think. Actually, I'm very busy. My calendar is booked
Busy.
from now till next year. Actually, so,
December.
but right. But when you come from the point of having something of an advantage,
Value. Yeah.
something of interest. They're like, see, even when you think about it, don't think far. Your packaging alone is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have only 2 or 3 episodes yet, and you have a correct the way you present yourself alone positions you as a person of interest or an
Interest.
advantage.
True.
When you send me an email to give me, even if it's not a proper email, but you slide into my DM, but you have this well structured invitation. I know it is well
Mm-hmm.
thought through. I know you've put some work into it. I know you've looked at me or you've searched me out somehow, even if it's the
Research.
faintest thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's the
Mm-hmm.
faintest thing, it does not need to be like, so I know that this one is a researcher. Don't tell me my birthday, everything. No, no, no. Now I'm like, this one is a stalker. Are you stalking me or what?
Yeah.
I just need
Yeah.
one thing that shows that, okay, at least you looked me up at the list, even if it's just
Mm-hmm.
but from their already like general bio. So it's public notes, it's public knowledge. It's fine, but at least you made an effort to look me
Mm-hmm.
up, to know that okay, this is the kind of like when you look people up, right, and you want them to be a guest on your show, you will know the angle that speaks to your own podcast.
To approach.
Because
Yes.
otherwise, if you bring people, just people you don't know, what do you talk to them about? Like, what do you
Yeah.
want to ask them?
True.
But when you know about them, even though, like they will say, even though,
Even though.
even though,
Even though.
even if they don't
Hey.
have like they don't exactly fit. See, I've had that in my podcast, my years of podcasting. I've had
Yeah.
people who, like, naturally, I can't look at them and say, I want to invite them as a guest, but they are hell bent on being a guest on my show. So I'll have to now look at them and have a
Find
conversation
a
with them
way.
or look them up to say, okay,
Yeah.
okay, you know what, actually, right. So some people are like straight up, they just want to market something. And I'm like, my
Mm-hmm.
podcast is not about putting you out there I'm not advertising you. So even if you have a business, fine. Can you come in from this angle? Because that's the angle that I
Angle.
am about. So I'm not going to bring you and do your bidding. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it's fine. You are
Yes.
my guest. I want to make you look good, but you have to come from my angle. I'm the host. If I'm the
Mm-hmm.
host, it means
True.
that you're coming to my house. If you're coming to my house, you can't tell me where
Yes.
to put the chairs.
Yes.
You can't tell me where to put television. I'll make it
Yes.
fine. When you
True.
come in, you'll be comfortable. But you can't tell me to, why is your TV like this? Hey, you are my guest. Please don't come again. That's how you come and tell me how to arrange my house
It's over.
after I've put in some work. Do you understand? Right. But the
Yes.
point is, as a host, you have to be in charge. Your own work is to ensure that this guest is feeling good when they come into your space.
Yeah.
So that means you have
Mm-hmm.
to look at the angle that will make them feel good. When you check people up, maybe they like. I mean, the first time I connected with Jo when I knew he was coming to Dubai, I went straight like, Jo, you are what? You're coming? Do I'm here? Like, don't worry.
Yes.
As I'm coming to welcome you with soft, fried dodo. Ah, jail head
No,
scatter.
JJ. Nigeria's best food, don't do. Fried don't do.
He was like, you know what? No
Oh,
problem.
I'm coming.
Like
I'm on my way.
literally, I was one of the
Yeah.
first set of people to know he was in town and to know where he was,
Mhm.
right? So again, that's because I, that's because okay, fine. For his own case, I've been following him for years, so I know. But again,
Yeah.
it was the shadowing that even made me know. I thought that I was coming here. You get? So
Mhm.
again, for your guests, at least have something on them that can relate with what you want them to come and do on
Yeah.
your platform. All right. So that's the attractive part. So you know that, okay, I want to attract them. I want to be attractive because I have something of interest. For some people, do you know they just want to be on my podcast because energetic EJ. I just vibe. I vibe with your vibe. Can I just be on your podcast? Like, let's just banter.
I
Let's
just want
talk.
to come and
Like, what,
vibe.
what do you want to say? You know what? Anything. Calm down. You can't be saying anything. I'm not a gist blogger or a gist blogger.
You cannot come and do anything. No.
Right. So sometimes I
You
have to
just
tell
want to
my
come
guests,
and
okay,
vibe.
you know what? Okay, tell me your story. What's your story? What's your story? So they tell me a bit
Mhm.
of it. I'm like, okay, I like this angle. So can we have our conversation from this angle? Like,
Around
wow,
here.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So that will also guide me in the way I ask them to draw out that question, right? So now that's it. So the next word I want to define is unique. Unique. You know, we're
Mhm.
talking about the art of hosting and attracting unique guests. And that's the last word I'm going to define. Of course, you know what a guest is. But unique means
Mhm.
being the only one of its kind, unlike anything else. So, in this regard, see, let me tell you, for example, my current podcast, like, it's actually in the same way general and unique. It's generic and unique because all of us, every human being, have a
That's a
story,
story.
and we all
Yeah.
have challenging stories. No matter how
Mhm.
rosy your life is now, at some point in your life,
There is
you hit rock
somewhere
bottom.
that the story is
Yes,
true.
right? But exactly
Yeah.
the connection, the generalities that we all have challenges. But the
Mhm.
uniqueness here is that what did you learn from your own challenge? I kid you not, even if we both went through the same exact thing at the same exact time, our learnings from that exact experience can never be the same.
Be the same. True.
And that is what the unique stands for. You are the only one
Mm.
that has experienced life in the way that you have experienced it. And you are the only one that can tell it in the way that you will tell it. And that is what makes it unique. So again, when you're
Unique.
talking about unique,
Mm.
it's not like something out of this world. No, 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 no. It's like perspective, looking at the angles. Where do you want to come from? Where are you coming from that no other person can come from? We all have stories. We all go through challenges. But what we learn from our challenges is different. You get? So now we've talked about art, we've talked about host, we've talked about attract, we've talked about unique. How do I bring this all together as it concerns podcast? I'm sure I've put in a little bit of this and that as we go so you get all the bits
Yeah.
and pieces. So these are the points that I want you to take away. Number one, there is no one size fits all when it comes to the art of podcasting or the art of hosting and attracting a unique guest. There is no one size fits all. I don't have any
Yes.
formula. And that's the whole point of being an art.
Mhm.
That's the whole point
Yeah.
of being an art because you
True.
can bring your own imagination alive.
Life.
And that is what
True.
your art is. Yes, there are principles which are like, okay, like all the things that Oziema has shared earlier on that you need to pay attention to with the content itself, with the packaging. But in the delivery of it, there is no rule. There is no rule. And please, can I say to you, do not be afraid to explore your own mind.
All
Don't.
uniqueness.
A lot of us are
Mm.
afraid, and that's why we will never stand out in life. We
Mhm.
are afraid to explore our minds. And that's where the riches are. That is where yes, conditioning, environment, a lot of things constitute to what how or to how your mind is built. But even at that, still, when you become a student of life and you are
Mm.
intentional about how you show up in life, you will begin to know the difference between right and wrong.
Wrong.
And no matter how bad you are as a human being, you have a conscience, you have a compass
Mm.
on your inside that tells you what is right and wrong. Even you as a
Wrong.
person, you know when there is a tug of war on your inside pertaining a
Inside.
certain
So,
issue. For you to say, should I not? There is a tug or that's the compass in you. So that's why I say explore your mind. And when you explore, and that's one of the most beautiful things that I am grateful for being a coach for. Because coaching teaches you to be objective, knowing that there is really, really, really no absolute good or absolute bad. It is
bad.
in the application, in the way that you see it, or in the way that you interpret it, right? So there are things that, I mean, in cultures, for example, there are some things in some cultures, it's like, mommy continent. But in others, it is what it is for them.
Yes.
So from their own standpoint, they will tell you it is right. From your own
Wrong. Yeah.
standpoint, you will say it is no, it is wrong.
Yeah.
Like when we Hilda that did whatever, dog meat or whatever, whatever. Like in Akwa Ibom,
Controversy
in
everywhere.
Calabar, is that is what
Normal.
they've grown to know. But in
True.
other continents or other places, like ew, I mean, the other day
Trouble.
I was seeing somebody that was an Asian person that was just preparing walk egg being a lizard. I don't even
Oh
know.
God. My God.
You should be say I say, hey God, now to do your body like now so they go see you the chop a bar. They say, hey God, what is this?
Hey God. Exactly. Oh.
Do you
Hey.
see? So there is no one size fit all.
It's
There
all.
is no one
Yeah.
size fit all. So be unafraid to explore your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Explore it. So even if there's something like it's not, you can always see what to judge, but you always have something from your perspective, from your growth. And if you maintain a growth mindset, you always, look forward to being a better version of yourself. You
Yeah.
embrace the fact that you are an evolving being. As a human being, we keep evolving. So what I know to be all right today, five years from now, I might say, no, 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 no. In the past I was ignorant,
No
that was not
working.
right. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it again, right? So there are some things that I would accept 5 years ago that I would not accept now because I've grown, I've
Mm-hmm.
evolved. I now know better. There were things I didn't know that I now know that I would not, like, I would not stand for it anymore, right? So in that sense you keep growing, but again, allow yourself to explore your mind so that you can even know what is there.
Yeah.
Do you know that a lot of ideas have come to you that you shut it down because you're too scared to explore?
Good.
You're afraid
Mm-hmm.
of what people will say. You're afraid of, he's never done, nobody has done this before.
Before.
If I
Yeah.
come and do it now, am I a goat? No. But if you want to look at it again, like Steve Jobs says, there's the people who think that who are crazy enough to think they can change the world. They are the one that actually do
I
change it.
do. Yeah.
I recently saw a post about the lady that sells fart or that sold fart.
Wow.
She literally was farting into a container for 127 days or something. And then she started to sell it. She sold out and she made thousands of dollars. She was selling a can of her
Selling
fart for
fats.
$500. And people were buying.
Hey.
Our fans were buying like no business. No man. I said, which,
Hey, this
which kind of CBT?
wow. Now wow. Hey. Oh Jesus.
My dear, I don't know. Like, how did she even think about it? Like, how did
As
she
in
even
from
think
where to
about it?
where? Hey,
And she
as
sold
well.
like big time. So explore, don't be afraid. There's some ideas that have come to your mind. And if you even check it at least once in your lifetime, as you are now, as long as you are above, in fact, even if you are not yet like 18 or an adult, but I know that most people here you are at least above 18. once in your lifetime, you would have thought of an idea, and then you didn't do anything about it. And then you saw
Yeah.
somebody else. Like you had no conversation with this person. You don't even know the person. You're like, how? I thought about this thing. You'll be telling somebody next, you know go believe say I think about this thing. You don't go believe her exactly like this.
Exactly.
But you were too afraid. You
To
probably
step
did not
out.
have references. You're like, you've not done it before. Yeah, so my brother fart to mess. Hmm. I said, things are happening. Right. So
Oh
there's no
my
one
god.
size fit all.
Yeah.
Explore your mind, but know the foundation, know the basics, know
Mhm.
the tech involved in this craft, know the techniques involved in this craft, know the processes involved in this craft. And these are some of the
Mhm.
very vital things that Ozioma has highlighted at the beginning of the session. Then add your art to it. Who says you have to present like me? Who says you have to present your see? I can be your coach. I can train you. I can support you, but we need you to be your art. Add your
So
art to your craft. That is what makes you unique. I am the energetic EJ. And it's not just because of the name sounds sexy. No. It was a name born out of pain. And so it embodies who I am. I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to last for. Who
mm,
knows? Maybe when I'm 60, is going to change from energetic EJ to inspiring EJ. I'm already an
coming
inspiring
down
person
EJ.
anyway. You never know. You never know.
Sorry.
And me, I am not afraid to
Oh
explore.
my god.
I'm not afraid to explore. Of course,
Yeah.
there's still some things I'm afraid of. There are
Mhm.
fears I'm constantly working to overcome. But I'm that one person that I love to do crazy stuff, and I love to actually like be the odd one out. Like it's no longer new to me. I like it. Maybe I like attention somehow. So do the thing differently. Let people now say, that's yeah. You must turn your head, of course. And for the longest time, I ran away from it, like
Yes.
because of the kind of mindset. You know how I don't know. For some of us from Africa, they taught us the wrong definition of humility. It was more like pretense. What we thought was humility was pretense. Like consciously, intentionally bringing yourself down just so that other people will not feel bad.
Down.
Like, what
Nice.
is wrong with
Hmm.
say, I love attention? Give it to me. I want to walk into a room and I want to see heads turn. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're not, bringing somebody else down in doing that.
Down.
But be yourself by all means. But of course, like I said, you don't want to, I mean, again, there is no right or wrong, but still, if it's going to affect another soul negatively, you can't be doing it intentionally and say, that's who I am. Like, you can't be a nasty person, cursing or bringing people down, always tearing people down with your words and say, that's me being me. Come on. You're hurting another soul. You can be you without actually hurting a fly. But of course, you know that
Yeah.
again. Let me tell you that there are some people that it's like their own calling in this life is to be hurt on top of other people's matter. So just being you
Hmm.
is annoying them.
Yes.
Is demoralizing them. There's nothing you can do about it. That one you did not. They could have also shined themselves if they wanted to shine. So again, it's a little
Mhm.
bit here and there, but just know that you can explore, you can add your own flavor, bring up your flavor. There is nobody else like you, like nobody else exists like you, exactly like you. You're not they. You are the only you. And I know you've been hearing this all the time, but
Yeah.
can you please believe it? Can you please believe it and just live?
Can you please believe it?
Anyways,
Yeah.
that's the first one that that's the first thought I need to leave you with understanding all the different definitions here. Know that there is no one size fits all. You should actually, not you can, but again, if you think you can't, I'm telling you that you can. And you should bring in your imagination. Never be afraid to explore your own mind. Know the tech, know the techniques, know the process, then add your art. Okay. Number two is be aligned to your art as a host. And why I say this is, when I was coming up in this industry of speaking and presenting and everything, back in the days, early 2000, early 2000 there, about 2010, 11, 12, 13, like that, between because my first official like paid program or course, was in 2014 when I went to an academy to be trained as an on-air personality. Now, back then, even during the training, everyone wanted to sound like the already existing on-air personality.
Mm.
So
Mm.
they feel like there's a radio voice. Back then we wanted to be on radio. So it's
Mhm.
like, I'll be talking with you now. I'm like, okay, hi Ozzy, how are you? Are you good? It's like once you say
Next thing you switch.
action, hello Ozzy, how are you today? Today we're talking about like uncle, calm down. There's I mean, back in the days, back in the days, I think, they thought,
Yeah.
that was it. But eventually it started to
Mhm.
evolve, knowing that there
Mhm.
is the people at the time, before that era, the era before that was they were broadcasters. They were called broadcasters. So it was serious. So you
Mhm.
go to school, you go to broadcasting academy, or you go to mass communication, and then you have to learn properly.
Yeah.
You have to speak properly. You have to speak proper English. You have to do all the intonations, right? It wasn't more around accent or anything. It was more like proper English. So you had to do that
Mhm.
to be on air, to be a broadcaster, basically. But in the era that I trained in was the era of on air personality,
Hey.
OAP.
Mhm.
At that point, they had started to understand that what connected them to the audience was their personality.
Uniqueness. Yeah.
It was their personality. That was the era of Wazobia FM, where everybody was dying up from yo. They speak PG like this
No
small boy.
long one. Like
Lolo one,
say.
and then
Yeah.
in the other side of it, Cool FM, for example, you had Daddy Freeze, you had
Mhm. The
D
different. Yeah.
Dotun, you had all those people, Nigeria Info, you had
Different
Nelly,
people.
you had Adeni Care, but they were
Mhm.
bringing their personality, and that was when
True.
it became more attractive. Because before then was like, oh, what is serious work? Me when I was speak English, it's not my line. But when they started to do the on personality, it was more around the person speaking.
Yeah.
So it
Mhm.
was they were connecting. So that was when they started to do the different, pidgin or very high, like you had money of Cool FM. Money, money,
Money.
money, money,
Yeah.
money,
Yeah.
got a
I
money
remember.
show with your girl Amaka. And then they
Yeah.
had to have sidekick. There will be the main OAP. There will be the
And
sidekick
different,
that will just
different.
put in a dasa.
The
Everything
competition
had
then was
different
high.
high. Exactly, because it
Yeah.
was now about personality. So they were now bringing their personality on the game. And that was
True.
when influencer era started to grow. Because the shows that people listened to more
Mhm.
were people who were truly themselves. So you either like them or hate them, but they were bringing in their personality. It was no longer about broadcasting prim and proper. Like, and I this how they talk. If you want like me, you like.
Mm.
If you don't like me, get out. And it was, that was when the honor personality and then influencers started to, the influencer economy started to come again. So basically, my point here is be aligned to your art as a host. So if you know your style, I have trained people, I have coaching clients who I'm working with as taking them on their journey to podcasting. There's some that are naturally slow talker. So if it would be wrong for me to now say, you have to be energetic. See, bring life, bring life into
Yeah.
your presentation, but be you. So if you're a slow talker,
Mhm.
it's fine. Just try not to be too slow. Put in mind at the back of your mind that you're speaking to a certain kind of people. So if your audience
People.
loves slow people, so maybe you're talking to old people, of course, you have to be slow so that they can understand what you're talking about. Otherwise, they'll be like, what is
Mhm.
who are you eating hot yam?
Where,
Why are you
where
talking
you
so
running to?
fast? Why are you running?
Yeah.
But you
Why
don't
are you
expect
running?
you don't expect to be trying to speak or to send a message to Gen Z and you're slow. You'll be like, who is this old person? Like I thought, okay, so that's okay. Why are you slow? Speak, talk,
Yes,
talk now. They will even want to
man.
help you finish your sentences. Like, Yes, we understand what you want to say. Calm down.
Exactly.
I'm not even finished, right? So you need to understand your
Next.
audience and know. And again, sometimes in that regard, you see how this thing works, that there's no one size fits all. Because if you are this person that is very melancholic and phlegmatic, you cannot now be saying you want to by force yourself to speak to a certain kind of fast-paced audience. You will be
People.
like a fish
Yeah.
living out of water because you will struggle. You will struggle.
Hmm. True,
So you
true,
need to
true,
look
true.
again and come back and say, okay, is it that these are the only people I can talk to? Or you can look at yourself and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
who does my persona fit? I am energetic. I can easily speak to young people. But guess what? Even the older ones
Hmm.
who don't want to lose their energy, they are attracted to me. They're like, Omo, I
Yes,
wish
sir.
I could have your kind of energy. I cannot, oh, but let me just get more inspiration from you. At least if I go and sing with my
Let's
own
be in
set
the,
now,
in
I
the
will
vibe.
flow. Let me chop some more of your vibe. At least if I'm at
True.
maybe you are driving, if I'm at speed 40, with working with you, for example, at least I will rev it up to 60. You are at 100, it's fine. I can be
Yeah.
60. So with that
Mm-hmm.
60, it makes me feel more alive and I can then reach out to the people I want to reach out to. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why again, I always say this anywhere I show up. Like, see, when you know yourself, you're able to craft this thing around who you are and then show up your authentic self.
Yeah.
Quickly, as we round up the session, the
Yeah.
third thing I would like to leave you with is clarify your advantage and interest in relation to your guest. And you this one is when we say
Mm.
attracting. For you to attract the right person, you are standing in the position of interest and advantage. So there's something that you have that they feel like, if this is what is in it for me. I mean, literally, people are traveling and coming to Dubai and they're already booking. Once they know that they are going to be in Dubai, they are booking. EJ, I'm coming to Dubai. I have to be on a podcast.
Energy is low. Let's up.
Right?
Let's up
See,
energy.
do you understand? And look at
Yeah.
it. So it's funny, but again, I'm also become beginning to accept it. I used to worry about the numbers a lot. Like, okay, so I'm
Mm.
not like showing or bragging. It's not like healthy brag, because sometimes you have to have healthy bragging. Otherwise, everybody will step on
Yeah.
you like you don't have any, and you too, there are places you can enter, but you will not be able to because you are suppressing yourself, right? But I'm unable
True.
to
True.
enter some circles because there are some metrics I am using that is discouraging me. Like, I'm like, I've been doing this. Yes, I'm
Mm.
good at what I do, but I don't have the numbers yet. I don't have large following online. Like, so there's nothing attractive about me. Like, sometimes I'm like, no, I'm getting better now. Like, almost, even if it's one person, please, that one person, if you do like this to me, I will do like this. Oh yeah, come on, let's do it, But looking at the numbers and saying, wow, but I don't have a lot of following, and so I can't even say what is attracting people to me. Guy, what is attracting them is attracting them. So when you know that advantage, you will leverage it. You will soak it. You will soak it. It might not be the numbers. You'll be shocked. Some people, it's not because you have large following. It's
Light
because of who
following.
you
True.
you
Who
are.
you are. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's because of the things that you are interested in that attracts them to you. So the more when you know
Yeah.
that now, right, you begin to do those things. And before you know it, you will begin to attract more people
Oh,
that blend with you, and that's how you grow. But the moment you start to second guess yourself, you will not now be known for one thing because you're always like, hey God, is this what they like? Is this what they like? Oh yeah, let me do this one. No, no, they don't like it again. No. Okay, okay, okay. Let me.
your
So
bot.
the people that now really, really, really can like you and be loyal and can stay with you, they will be confused because they don't know. I think for the longest time that was my case, but now I'm not even worried about the numbers anymore. But I know for sure that I'm making an
Mm-hmm.
impact. I know for sure that I'm impacting lives, I'm inspiring lives, and that's it. And that's why I'm that one person. Like, if it's one person that this whole summit is for, this my session is for, God bless you. You're that one person. Go and run with this thing
Yeah.
I'm saying and be blessed. If God blesses me in
Mm-hmm.
return, I'll get the feedback. If it doesn't, I know I've done my part. I know I've sown a seed. It will harvest and to germinate, and I'll meet it in front, right? So be
Yeah.
aligned to your art as a host. So if you are the Telenke type, own it. Own it. Because again, if you know that we keep evolving as people, you will know that sometimes what you like now, you might not like in 10 years' time. So why are you killing yourself?
Tomorrow.
But now that you like
Yeah.
it, make it know that you like it. Tomorrow, if you don't
Let the
like it
world
again,
know.
make it know. "Ah, I don't like it again. No, I don't
Yes,
change.
so
Oh, I don't pause. I don't upgrade. I don't repackage. Do you understand? So you own it, and that just makes your journey very interesting because then you are
mm-hmm.
in the process and you're enjoying the process, not just looking at the destination. All of us want to be great. Do you get? But not all of us will be great in the way that we think we should be.
You think. Hmm. Hmm.
You might think you want to be great for the whole world, but you are actually supposed to be great to one person. So if you're looking at the whole world, you will miss that one person. And at the end of the day, your whole purpose is just forfeited. So why not enjoy the process and
Yeah.
meet that one person? Because that one person, there is a replication of that one person in 1 million other
Hmm.
people. So if you focus on that one
Mm-hmm.
person, eventually you reach 1 million people. But if you're focusing on 1 million people, you will be discouraged before you even
You
get there.
miss.
Because when you look
Yeah.
at the as they drop, ah, they pain them, mama, you the sweet us.
Is it? Oh my God.
You will be discouraged before you get to the place you're going to. So just rewire what you're focusing on or your metrics per time. I've said clarify your advantage so you know you can own it per time and as it evolves, evolve with it. Um,
Yeah.
Finally, is be intentional about your guests. What do they what does your guest have like what so it's more like creating an avatar for your guest. What is that one thing that all your guests have in common, right? That will
Hmm.
make them want to be on your show. Because again, for example, for me, sometimes I have these conversations in my head right now. I know before I explored having different segments. I've never seen anybody done that before, and that's why I wrote the book Podcasting with a Difference because I was podcasting with a
Mm-hmm.
difference. Being that I had different segments on my show, I had different segments every day of the week. I've not seen anybody that was
Ah,
podcasting. Many people were
and
podcasting
me, I
every day,
was
but
one. How did you even cope? Monday,
I
Tuesday,
mean,
Wednesday,
you
Thursday,
know,
Friday, every day.
exactly. I know people. I knew people were podcasting every day, but they were podcasting on the same top one topic for
Same.
every day. Like Robin Sharma, for example, he has a daily podcast. But his podcast, the daily ones are very short, 5 minutes, maximum 7 minutes. So it was easy to maintain. But this was me having episodes that are at least, if it's short, it will be 20 minutes. So between 20, 30, 45 minutes sometimes. And I'm having segments every every day of the week you get. But I was happy that I explored it. Because why? That journey made me appreciate all the talks I've been hearing that you need to niche down. You
Hmm.
need to niche down. For me, it was like I'm a multi or multi potentialite, right? You could see even from my bio, I have many things. So it's like telling myself like I cannot do one thing, I cannot be
You
one
can't
style,
just
I
bring it
cannot niche
down.
down. No, no, it's not possible. Don't try to box me. Bang, 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 bang. But by me exploring, letting my mind go wild, now it
You
hit
brought
me
it
one
down
time. I'm like,
yourself.
yes. It hit me like,
Hmm.
okay. But it also made me understand what I am natural at and what comes easy to me. It made me realize
Hmm.
how much I really love people's stories and how much I draw strength from the story of other people. And now I've made that about my podcast. So I can never get tired with what I'm doing
Hmm.
now. I can never run out of content.
True.
I might run out of time to record, and that's why I have to plan ahead. But that there's no content. How now?
Content.
Our story finish in this life. As people
You
stop going
know,
through
Alpha.
challenges,
In fact, the ones that will be born tomorrow, their stories
they
will
will
still
have
tell
their
it
own. Do you
in the future.
understand? Do you
Yeah.
understand? But I got to that point where I knew, okay, stories for me are the thing. And that's why I now niche down to that thing. Like everybody has a story. But now, what am I growing in? Number one, I'm growing in my listening skill. I'm growing in my questioning skills. Do you see what I mean? But if I did not explore, I might not
Mm-hmm.
have gotten to this point. But now I've gotten to this point, and now I can go deeper in those other skills, some of the skills you mentioned earlier. So be intentional about the kind of people. So for you, you might be like me, not sure. Okay, I have a lot of students like that. Like Coach TJ, I like to speak about girl empowerment, and women in business,
Tomorrow,
and
women.
pregnant mom and children. Which one will I now focus on? It's like, okay, you know what? Explore. So for me, I will not be that coach or that person. I'll say, no, you have to.
I will box
Who says? Who says? It has worked for those people. If you are clear from the beginning, there's no point. What are you looking for? If you are
you. Yeah.
clear, there are people that just know that this is what I am meant to do. Let them go. But there are people like us who are not sure. Please explore. Be free. Don't be
Clarity will
afraid to
come
say,
as you
Gary,
go.
God bless you. And if you don't explore and know and just do because I am your coach and I say do it like this, which story do you want to tell tomorrow? That they say I should do it like this, and I say they say make I do it more. No,
Is
but if
it
you
I blame
explore,
it, I blame it.
she's the one that said that this is how I should do it. Oh, look at me now. You don't want to be that person that
Yeah.
will be playing the blame game. If you make, as I
Mm-hmm.
say now, I don't make mistake and I'm owning it with my chest. Do
True.
you understand? But it's part of my story. It is what makes my story sweet. It is what will
Yeah.
make your story sweet. People will see you and see the journey. People will see you and see the growth. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you're not clear about the certain topic, at least be clear about the certain people that you want to speak to. So
Facts.
because
Yeah.
for example, there is something that can be common to the different. So if you think your message can apply to adults, to young people, even to children. So am I going to say I am speaking to fathers, mothers, and if for example, if that is it, you are speaking to family. At least that one is even
Yeah.
easy to round up, right? But let's say you're speaking to women, but you know that women is large, is huge, right? So is it married women, pregnant women, or career
Oh.
women, or business women,
Mm-hmm.
or single women?
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of women? So if you're like,
Everybody.
actually, what I do, everybody, everybody is nobody. Okay, if it's not
Yeah.
about the bodies, what is it about? What is the pain point that actually ties all
Mm-hmm.
those different demographics together?
People.
That's another angle that
Yeah.
you can look at for niching. And then when you explore it, I can assure you that you will now see the exact part of it that is sweet for you, that you can sit with, that you can explore, that you can research, and you can become better at. All right. So again, my message for you is explore, explore, explore. Just to round up
Explore.
quickly, is number one, remember there is no one size fits all answer. You can bring your own imagination alive. Never be afraid to explore your own mind. Know the tech, know the tech meaning the technology you need, know the techniques, the skill, know the process, what you need to do. Then add your art. And two, be aligned to your art as a host. Number three, clarify your advantage and interest in relation to your guest so that you can attract them, right? And number four, be intentional about your guest. What do they have in common that you can use that can make them say, you know what, I want to be on your show, right? I hope
Yeah.
that with these few points of mine, I've been able to
Wow.
convince and not
Not to
confuse and add
confuse.
some and add some value to you on your
Yeah.
journey to being a
Hmm.
podcaster.